Autumn Beckman here. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My channel is all about luxury on a budget, so if you're into that sort of thing, remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell notification icon to be notified when I post a new video. Today's video is about organizers and whether you should use one or not. I've seen a lot of people ask this question, especially when they're kind of new to Louis Vuitton, and I see this question asked most often about the Speedy and the Neverfull, and of course those are the two most popular Louis Vuitton bags. So I have both of those here. I have a Speedy 30 and a Neverfull MM. I think those are the two most popular sizes. I also have a couple other bags, but I mostly want to focus on those two and how I've used my organizers and not used them, and the pros and cons of using one and not using one, and maybe this will help you make a decision about whether you want to use an organizer or not. Okay, let's start with the Speedy. This is the one that people probably want to use the organizer in the most, because the Speedy, you've probably heard, is a black hole. Now mine happens to be red, but it is difficult to find things in here. It's got, the 30 at least, has a nice wide opening, but things just fall all around in here if you don't have any kind of organizer, and it can be pretty difficult to find things. A lot of people also complain that if you don't have an organizer, you get that sag in your Speedy where it just hangs there, and a lot of people don't like that look. What I'll do in this video is show you how I organize my Speedy and my Neverfull with and without the organizers. And before I do that, I'll show you what I tend to keep in my bag. Here are the things I usually carry around in my bag. Now, I will say that I have a few different options here for carrying wallets, so I wouldn't carry all of these at once. If I need to carry a lot, I have my giant Sarah wallet. If I need to carry just a little bit, then I have my card case. This second card case right behind it I always carry because it has my healthcare cards. This little key pouch has extra keys, like the boyfriend's car key and a spare key for my key, or for my car, so that if we ever lock ourselves out, then I've got that on me. And then if I just need a compact wallet, I have this little Chanel boy flap. So I would either carry the Sarah, this, or the card case. Maybe this and the card case. And then have all these things: sunglasses, eyeglasses, eyeglass cleaner, cleaning cloth, phone of course, hand sanitizer, tissues, meds that I always have to have with me, my Clippa bag holder. This is a small notebook, Tide stick, pen, stylus, lip balm, little pocket knife, nail clippers, keys, my big bulky keys. And then if I'm not carrying an organizer, or sometimes if I am, I would have different pouches. So I have the Toiletry 15, the mini pochette, and the pochette accessoire. Underneath these card cases, I have the pochette from the Neverfull. That's the MMGM size. And sometimes I also carry my point and shoot camera that I am filming this with. I've also sometimes carried this pochette from Tory Burch. Here's how I carry my Speedy without an organizer. This has all my stuff in it. It does have some sag, but it's not too bad. It's not as bad as what I've seen some other bags look like. And let me open it up and show you how I have this organized. So I've put, yeah, see, it's hard to see without the organizer, and it looks super junky. Let me zip one of those up. I usually keep it unzipped, and I don't tip my bag over on the side like I just did to show you. And actually I'm not going to be able to zip it. So what I do, let me just take it out and show you. I have my mini pochette, and in there I have my big bulky keys. I have my Toiletry 15. This is where I put my eyeglass cleaner and hand sanitizer. The things that could spill that are liquidy, because this has that cleanable, wipeable interior. Have my sunglasses, which I haven't actually needed to carry in my purse for a while, but in the summer it'll be brighter. We've had a lot of rain, it's been cloudy, haven't needed sunglasses. And then the pochette accessoire is my junk drawer. This is where I have everything else that you just saw. My glasses, reading glasses, just sit on top. I have my phone standing up in the back so I know where it is and easy access. And then everything else is crammed in there. And I have found that that works really well for me. Here's how the Neverfull looks with the same system, just having things in those pouches. There's not much sag at all there. And here's how it looks inside. I still have a ton of space where I can throw a scarf and everything. I could put a scarf in the Speedy too. but it's a little easier to see here in the Neverfull. Now let me show you what these would look like if I put an organizer in, took things out of the pouches and put them in all the pockets of the organizers. By the way, the organizers I have, I'm not going to talk about the brand of these. It's a brand that I got off Amazon. I have other videos that I did a long time ago on these, but I don't want to advertise for this brand. I have a video on that too, on why I wouldn't want to. These felt organizers you can get all over the place. You can get really nice ones from Samorga. I've never had one of theirs, but I've heard great things about them. And you can also find other organizers just like this on Etsy that are nice and that are locally made. And you can find other cheap ones like this on Amazon. Here's how all my things look in the organizer. I still have these 2 pockets free. Yeah. And that's the stuff. I don't have anything. This middle section comes out. It's just Velcroed on the sides. And I don't have anything in front of it or behind it here. Everything is in the pockets. Here's the back. I have the notebook and tissues, my phone sticking up. I have sunglasses, reading glasses. Oh, I do have those in between the insert there. Yeah, that's how it looks. So there's definitely a place for everything. Let me put these in the bags and show you. Here's how the Neverfull looks with the organizer. So you don't have that little bit of sag that I had before. That's one of the things that organizers are great about, is they really reduce that. And then here's how it looks inside. Still have plenty of room for other things. Now it's easy to slip that organizer in and out of the Neverfull. It is much more difficult with the Speedy. In order to get the organizer, I have several different ones, different colors. In order to get the organizer in the Speedy, you really have to fold it and crush it like this, which means if you have stuff in it, you have to take all your stuff out. And then you have to, see if I can do this on camera, you have to put the organizer in sideways and then straighten it out once you get it in the bag. That's how it looks with the organizer with nothing in it. It would look the same with items in it and having that extra weight. It's not going to have so much of the sag. It'll really help keep the shape of the Speedy. And then here's how it looks inside. I would definitely recommend, if you're getting an organizer for a Speedy, to get a light color. I think the red works fine because that's a bright color, but you wouldn't want to get a dark color that makes the inside of your black hole even darker. When I first bought my organizers, I used them all the time, but I've gotten to where I don't use them at all anymore. I really prefer the system of having several little pouches. It also allows me to use those Louis Vuitton SLGs that I've paid so much money for. I find that in most of my bags, when I stack these 3 together, it pretty much takes up the width of the bag or very close to it, so it really does help keep the structure a lot. And then especially if I add something else to fill the space, like my little camera is in here, or that Tory Burch pouch, or if I was to put the Sarah wallet in here or take one of these items away and put the Sarah wallet, these items, when they're filled with things, have enough structure to give the bag structure. And I love using my Speedies, and I switch my bags out all the time. So personally, I have found it a lot easier to keep my stuff in these smaller pouches and be able to pull a pouch out one by one instead of having to totally unpack an organizer, take the organizer out of the Speedy, put it in another bag, repack the organizer. This way I just pull the SLGs out from one bag to the other. It's a lot faster. One of the problems, as you saw, is that since I use my pochette accessoire as a junk drawer, you saw how messy that was. Now I know everything that's in there and I know where I keep things, because even though it looked like total chaos, I do have a bit of an organization system for it. So it works for me. But for some people, if you want to be more organized, you wouldn't just have things piled in a pouch. It might be a lot better for you to have things in individual pouches and where you can see them in the pockets here. You can also take that insert out, like I said, and you could still have that pouch system. Let me show you that. So here's the organizer without that center compartment. And here it is with the pouches in it. So that is like a balance between the two, and that would work really well. Although you wouldn't be able to get as many things inside that area, I could still, looks like I still have room to squeeze in my mini pochette there. So there's that. So you actually maybe could get about as much in there and then still have all that extra space around it for organization in the pockets of the organizer. On the Neverfull, you also still have that pocket that's built into the bag. So you could secure whatever you'd want to secure in there. That gives you a little extra space. In the Speedy, it has a pocket, but it's the small thing. I think the newer Speedies maybe have a zipper now. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong about that. Personally, I don't use this pocket. I find it too difficult to get in and out of. What is in there? I'm finding, oh, it's a hotel room card that I thought I lost like a month or two ago. Now I found it. So there's the pocket. See, I never use it. I didn't even think that I'd put something in there. But it's very small too. It's a little cumbersome for me to use, so I don't use that pocket. I just use my pouch system, or in the past, the organizer. A couple things to keep in mind about the organizers. Regarding the Speedy, more the Speedy than the Neverfull, but really this could apply to both. On the Speedy, well, let me say something first. On the Speedy, you want an organizer that doesn't go past where the curve of the bag right there is, because if it goes higher, then it pushes your bag out and it could misshape it. But one thing I've heard about Speedies especially, and this could also be true for Neverfulls, is that having an organizer makes the corners a little more structured, a little harder. So when you accidentally run into something with your bag, there's not as much give, and it could make it easier to damage the corners of your bag, more rubbing or scratches or something. That's something to keep in mind. Another thing is that I like these canvas bags because they kind of conform to your body and are kind of smushy. But when you have the organizer in, again, it creates more structure and you don't have so much of that smushiness. So this is gonna stick out from your body more than it might normally. And when you're carrying the Neverfull on your shoulder, it'll stick out more too. And your arm is hanging out here, you know, 5 feet from your body. And that's not something that I really love. So that's one of the reasons that I stopped using an organizer in my Neverfulls. I also remember seeing once, you know, a lot of people use their Neverfulls as baby bags or as gym bags. And a lot of people will carry a bottle of water or thermos of something, or makeup. That's one thing I don't carry. And I've seen a couple of horror stories of somebody spilling liquid in their Neverfull specifically, and they've had an organizer, and for some reason they didn't take the organizer out of the bag when that happened, and then months later they take the organizer out and the Neverfull's all moldy underneath because it was wet and couldn't air out and dry. So that's something to remember. If you're carrying an organizer and you spill something, take it out, clean that and the bag. But that goes hand in hand with one of the big positives of the organizer, is that if something spills, it mostly gets on the organizer and not on the interior of your expensive handbag. So it does make your bag easier to clean in that way. And if you want it to resell someday, that helps keep it in better condition. Another thing, this might be a little random, but another thing about the organizers is if you're somebody who's interested in getting a monogram bag, and one of the big draws to you for the monogram is having a different colored interior, because you know you can get the stripes and your initials, but you can also pick the interior color. I would really love to have a monogram bag that has a bright turquoise interior, but the turquoise doesn't go that well with my wardrobe. So I don't necessarily want the turquoise around my bag. That would really limit what I could wear it with. So one other advantage, it's not quite the same as having a monogram bag, but it's something to consider if you're interested in this, is you can buy, like I know Samorga has so many different colors, you can just buy an organizer that's the color that you really like and put that in there. But Vuitton doesn't offer their bags in a lot of different colors, the interiors, so maybe you have one of the Azure bags, that's an older bag that has the cream colored interior, but you really love the rose ballerine. So you could get a rose ballerine organizer for your bag, and you've got that, I hate this term pop of color, but you've got that pop of color. So it's a bit of a compromise without spending another, what, $1,400, whatever it would cost to get another bag with that interior, or a monogram that's closer to $2,000. What I have been using my organizers for the most, and I do recommend them, at least buying a cheap one for this, is when I store my bags, even though I don't use them and carry them around, the organizers, when I store my bags, I like to keep the organizers in them because it helps keep the shape in storage. So for example, I'll have one of these organizers in my Speedy, and then I'll put some bubble wrap on top, some of that air paper, and it keeps the shape. Same thing with the Neverfulls. with my Delightful, with my Noe. Speaking of the Delightful and the Noe, let me show you those with organizers in them. The Noe GM is really crinkly looking right now. It's a vintage bag, and I don't have the shoulder strap attached to it. But this bag is another sort of black hole. It's about, the base of it anyway, is about the same size as a Neverfull MM, but it's taller. And was it taller? Yeah, it's a little bit taller. And I do find it a bit difficult to find things in here, even with, that looks filthy in there. I need to clean that out. It's like I spilled some kind of powder. I don't even know what that would be. But it's difficult to find things in here, even with that storage system. So I got an organizer for that, and this color kind of matches. And this is one that you wouldn't have to empty the organizer in order to get it in and out of the bag. But this is the same organizer size as the one that fits the MM and the Speedy 30. By the way, yeah, but if you buy an organizer for a Speedy 30 or for the Neverfull MM, know that those are interchangeable. That size will work for both of those bags. It'll also work for the Noe GM. So that works really well there, except when you cinch the bag, let me do that, it keeps that structure, so you can tell that the organizer goes up to here and it doesn't get all squishy. See what I mean? It just keeps that shape. And so I personally don't find that very attractive and haven't been using the organizers in my Noe. And this is my original model Delightful PM. This is a hobo style bag. It's again the same size as the Neverfull MM and pretty much the same as the Noe GM. And this one fits the same size organizer. So there it is with the organizer in it. Let me hold that up and show you how well that keeps the shape with the organizer. And I'll take it out compared to not with the organizer. Putting it back in. And there's the inside with the organizer. However, this bag is meant to be squishy and fold in, and you're supposed to do kind of a fortune cookie shape thing like that. And when you have the organizer in it, that really doesn't work so well. It actually doesn't look that bad right now, but it really doesn't. It looks more boxy, and for me, with my idea of how this bag is supposed to look, that just doesn't work with it. So I never carry an organizer in this bag, but I do keep it stuffed with the organizer when I'm storing the bag to help keep the shape. And I think it's definitely worth, let's say, $30 for one of these felt organizers from Amazon. I'll see if I can find something and link it below that's not that same brand. I think it's worth that money to have a bag shaper that you could also use as an organizer. It's what it's intended for if you wanted to. So do you use an organizer in your bags or not? Have you tried it and loved it? Have you tried it and not loved it? What organizers would you recommend? And what pros and cons do you have that I haven't already mentioned? Or even ones that I have but you strongly agree? Leave all that in the comments section below so we can help each other out with more ideas and help people out who are struggling with the decision to organizer or not to organizer. Leave your comments below.